I know many in our Harvard Jewish community are hurting and experiencing grief, fear, and trauma. I have heard from faculty, students, staff, and alumni of incidents of intimidation and harassment. At the same time, I know members of Harvard's Muslim and Arab communities are also hurting.
See. This is how you water down what's going on these campuses. You create a false moral equivalency. Muslims aren't threatened, aren't victimized at Harvard or any of the poison Ivy League schools, period. That's not what's going on in this country. That would be like in the late 1930s, talking about the rise in anti-Semitism, and then say, but we also have Aryan phobia. Excuse me? Oh yeah, Aryan phobia. I mean, some Germans, aka Aryans, as they would call themselves in the Hitler regime, are being discriminated against. You get the point? The point is that this is being done intentionally to water down, to create a smokescreen. So this will never be resolved by these presidents of these universities, or a Democrat administration, or a Democrat attorney general, or Democrats in Congress. Never. This is a hearing that's called by Republicans. Over in the Senate, they haven't had a hearing yet. And yet the Democrat leader, the leader of the Senate who can determine what the schedule is, who has hearings on what, he's Jewish. But he's also a radical, partisan Democrat. And so it's one thing to go to the floor of the Senate, Schumer, and say, you know, our fellow travelers, which is a communist term, by the way, yeah, it's okay, our fellow travelers in the progressive movement, they're kind of turning on us, and it's very upset. Okay, that's a 10-minute speech. You're being praised. How about a hearing? You're a legislative body. How about looking into these colleges and universities? How about questioning the Attorney General of the United States, the head of the Civil Rights Division at DOJ and the Education Department? How about doing something about this with oversight hearings? There's no urgency. In fact, there's nothing. Nothing. And when you have over 100 members of the Democrats in the House, half of them voting against a resolution basically condemning anti-Semitism, what does that tell you? It tells you a lot. Go ahead.
During these difficult days, I have felt the bonds of our community strain. In response, I have sought to confront hate while preserving free expression. This is difficult work.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you see this PBS, how they handle it? She came under intense questioning. I watched this. And she made a fool out of herself, turned herself into a pretzel. Personally, I'm opposed and I condemn the references to the destruction of the Jewish state and the Jewish people, but there's free speech. And she was asked direct questions, and she wiggled and she squirmed. And yet, what does PBS do? They run with her opening statement. And her opening statement is pablum. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. We've got anti-Semitism, we have Islamophobia. The fabric of Harvard is being stretched into... Really? This is the time where people of goodwill, whomever they are, need to stand up. And many of them are. But they're not standing up in our colleges and universities. The administrators are not, because the administrators have created this. They've created the tenure situation, they've created the faculty situation, they've created the admissions situation, and now these schools are filled with anti-American, anti-Israel, Constitution, Declaration of Independence hating reprobates who believe what they're told about the 1619 Project, who believe what they're told about critical race theory. That's what's going on in these college campuses. Go ahead.
And I know that I have not always gotten it right.
Sally Kornbluth is the president of MIT.
I have been president of MIT since January of this year. As an American, as a Jew, and as a human being, I abhor anti-Semitism.
The question isn't what they abhor. The question is, what are they doing? What are they doing? Nothing effective. They're giving bureaucratic pablum. They're telling you how they feel. They're telling you that they abhor these certain things. If they're even willing to say that, you saw President Gay of Harvard there go on about, you know, 6 for one, half dozen the other, the Islamophobia and this other stuff going on here. It's just incredible. I've had enough of PBS. They can't even get this straight.